when I'm at my end, tears pouring down, and I can't see past what's in front of me now. When it's all too much for this heart to take, there's one name I call, one prayer that I pray. God help me now. Feels like there's no way out, but Jesus, you're faithful and able, and you've never once let me down. God help me now. No matter the pain my heart may feel, no wound cuts too deep for your love to heal. So when fear comes to find me and doubt starts to grow, I lift up my eyes, I know just where to go. God help me now. Feels like there's no way out, but Jesus, you're faithful and able, and you've never once let me down. God help me now. No one else, no one else has the power that's in your name. Nowhere else can I run to and be saved. God help me now. Feels like there's no way out, but Jesus, you're faithful and able, and you've never once let me down. Ooh, God help me now. God help me now.
Thrilled about life, relationship, business, or your career? I hate to consider in gathering the broken pieces. Then know that there is a time for you to gather the pieces because it's about to explode. Join me on Royal Star TV every Thursday at 4 p.m. as I delve into your heart and melt the heat so you and I can gather. I'm Lady Otima, your regular host. Stay connected. Royal TV, yeah, this year. Hello. You're welcome once again to another beautiful Thursday right here, Royal Star TV. My name is Lady Otima, and this is Gathering the Pieces. If you're watching us live from your homes, make sure you give us a feedback by sending us a message that I'm watching you live, Lady Otima. This is Gathering the Pieces, and today, to tell us his story, to tell us how he made it, the show is going to be a blessing to you and your whole household. Do stay tuned with us. We'll be right back to introduce our guest for today. Are you thrilled about life, relationship, business, or your career? I hate to consider in gathering the broken pieces. Then know that there is a time for you to gather the pieces because it's about to explode. Join me on Royal Star TV every Thursday at 4 p.m. as I delve into your heart and melt the heat so you and I can gather. I'm Lady Otima, your regular host. Stay connected. Royal TV, yeah, this year. We wanna see it's not. We wanna see your face. The name is Lady Otima. Be blessed. Open the eyes of my heart, Lord. Open the eyes of my heart. I wanna see you. I wanna see you. Open the eyes of my heart, Lord. Open the eyes of my heart. I wanna see you. I wanna see you. To see you, I lifted up, shine in the light of your glory. Pour out your power and love as we sing, holy, holy, holy. To see you, high and lifted up, shining in the light of your glory. Pour out your power and love as we sing, holy, 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 holy. I want to see. Welcome back to Gathering the Pieces, and this is Royal Star. You're watching us live from Royal Star Television, at this year. And I'm Lady Otima, your regular host on Gathering the Pieces. So as I said, today we're going to hear the story of an apostle, an ordained man of God, someone who has gone through a lot of brokenness, a lot of broken pieces, but yet he was able to gather. Let's hear his story and then let it be a blessing to you and learn from that. Hello and you're welcome, Reverend Ampofo. I normally call you Reverend, but you're an apostle. You're welcome to Gathering the Pieces show.
Bless you, my dear.
Yeah.
It's been a while.
It's been a while.
That's right.
It's good to see you again.
Thank you.
On the show.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, you're welcome. So, who is Reverend Ampofo? Who is Apostle Ampofo? You know, who is Apostle Ampofo? When someone wants to know who you are, what kind of person hear or know about you?
Okay, basically, so I'll say Apostle Ampofo is the president of Michael Ampofo Ministries.
Okay.
And by the grace of God, I've been in ministry for almost about 33 years and counting.
Wow.
And the Lord has been good, I'll say, all this while. So, in the nut, also a lecturer, you know, at a media college as well.
Okay.
Okay. A counselor.
Okay.
So basically, that's what I say.
So 33 years in ministry. Yeah. Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. That's a good one. In throughout this 33 years, were there any? Was there a time that you wish you were not into the ministry at all?
I will tell you something, that if you ever began any journey and you never felt like quitting along the line, then you haven't really started. Because life is so real and so practical.
Okay.
That there were things that before you started that journey you fantasized about, and it's always like you are moving towards a mirage. You know, anytime you're walking, you know, on the road, especially at noonday when the sun is very high and the temperature is so humid, you get thirsty along the line. And then when you look ahead, you always see an image of, you know, water ahead of you. But it's like, once you're moving closer and you wish you could get there early enough and take a, you know, a drink, the picture keeps moving further away from you. And sometimes when you feel that you are so close, then it looks like you're yet so far. And sometimes you feel like throwing in the towel, but I believe that grace is always around to sustain you.
Grace is always able to sustain us, indeed. Someone watching us will be wondering, are you a Ghanaian? Because your tonation, your diction, your sound, it looks like you're foreign. Are you a Ghanaian? Like, what kind of training do you have? Where did you learn from that has given that beautiful tone?
I'm a full-blooded Ghanaian
Oh,
and Asante by birth.
that's very not regular.
You know, and anytime people ask me, I said, well, per my upbringing, my father, what he was a general practitioner, medical doctor,
Mm,
and funny enough, most of his patients were foreigners,
mm,
and so in my family, I grew up with the English language first.
okay,
Yeah, so
okay.
I basically started speaking English before I even went to kindergarten,
Mm,
and
mm,
so it's been something that the like. Interestingly, it's like almost like my L1.
mm.
Instead of my L1 being she
It's it's
or
it's
Asante,
it's English.
I open my mouth and it's like the English pops up first.
Wow.
You know,
Okay.
so it's a language that I've been used to all my lifetime.
Mm.
Yes.
So it's a good thing people really
Mm,
bring up their children and
mm,
kids
mm.
with the language
Yeah,
early.
yes, and
It helps.
I believe that sometimes I hear a lot of people complain that, oh, we should teach our kids our local dialect. It's beautiful, but sometimes for purposes of good communication, I believe that you must communicate with your child in a
Mm,
language that they understand best.
mm,
You know,
mm.
funny enough, just a couple of days ago,
Okay.
my last born, that's
Mm-hmm.
my
Mm-hmm.
little son,
Mm-hmm.
he asked me a very funny question.
Mm.
He said, "Daddy, why is it that I am supposed to be Akan by birth, but I'm not good in a country in
Mm.
school?"
Mm.
And I laughed off and I said, "You know what? He's called Miracle Joy." I said, "Mira, you started speaking, and the first word that popped out of your mouth was an English word.
That's right.
So the first day he spoke tree in a house. That's we were in a compound house. Everybody said Obronia country. That's what. Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's
Okay.
been with him. And every time I look at him, I say, "Oh,
Mm.
you're just like me, man."
Wow.
He opens his mouth and it's English all out. But
All out.
my family, my wife, and his other siblings, we speak the
Mm.
Akan a lot in the
Wow.
house.
That's just a
Yeah,
blessing. So
yes.
much of a blessing. Well, let's quickly go back. The
Mm,
ministry, you said you've been in it for 33 years.
yeah.
So 33 years, did you just pick up onset from Ghana here? Did you start from somewhere?
Mm,
Did the passion
mm.
come out from you from Ghana here or outside the country? Where did you find
No,
yourself? Which
apparently,
region? Where did you
mm,
find yourself?
apparently, it was when I returned from sojourning in. First, I was in Liberia, and then I came back somewhere around '91, and then I I joined a fellowship in my hometown,
Okay.
and was through that I apparently I all my lifetime I didn't know that I was going to ever have anything to do with ministry, as in preaching.
Mm,
I desired being a medical doctor,
okay.
right from my childhood days. So everything, my training and everything, it's been about medicine, you know. But then I just discovered,
Mm,
through personal experience, that I've come to understand that, look, in this life, we don't come to look for a job or anything. We come here to pursue destiny,
destiny.
you know. And so I started, in fellowshipping with a couple of ministries, and
Okay.
then until around 2010, when the Lord asked me to start, building a ministry, and the kind of ministry that He's asked me to build is not actually the mainstream church thing.
Okay.
It's much more into leadership training and
Okay.
all that.
Okay.
Yeah, so that's what I've been involved
So
in.
leadership training,
Mm.
but into the church way, in
Yeah,
the church
yes, the
setting.
church setting. That's it.
Okay, developing all that
Mm.
along the line, were there any hiccups? Like, did you encounter betrayal? Did you encounter disappointment along the line?
Exactly. Since you are dealing with human beings, and definitely when you most of the time you know that you're giving of your best, you have good
Mm-hmm.
intentions, then something just pops up,
Up.
unexpectedly, and it leaves you with a lot of disappointment. It's like whatever you had in mind that you want to accomplish, you are not giving the opportunity to really fulfill it, and so it leaves you, becoming a little disappointed. That, oh, you thought that you had good intentions, but you're not allowed to really go the full 9 yards to really, fulfill whatever desire that you had in your heart. So
So
it's
what were some of the disappointments you had along the line?
I it was it's interesting. It was like you that, for example, I have pastored a couple of churches. They were not my churches, and I joined them along the line. And anytime I felt like it's a moment for me to go up, then it's like there was a situation where I had to come into a head-on collision, with the head pastors, and it was kind of surprising to me because, and it has always happened that anytime such a thing happened, that is the very time that I see the whole church gravitating towards me. So it looks like more of me being seen as a threat, than somebody who is come to really, help uplift the whole thing.
If I want to switch to our local dialect right now, as according to say, go for who say when oba beji asori ne free one say means na say na oma ye kanana. Oh, okay.
Nti do baby na ase nipa we ase attention nyina akọ no so nti wa ahwe ya na onye asori ni.
So according to say na members no wo modimbo na according to say like obia mouth so for no kra onya sa attention na ho na no why
it becomes
along the line who say was the sacrifice worth it? Was it worth it till now?
Most of the time, my consideration has always, and my motivation has always been to really do what God has called me and meet the desires of the membership, the congregation, because you are in a place where people are looking up to you, and no matter the challenge, you know that you have to put in some sacrifices, okay, to meet their needs. So my motivation has always been what the people are receiving from me. That's what really spurs me on. And I know because it is it is bound to happen in the human setting, definitely. And there's a kind of they say that says it be a ben when you definitely have literally having two trees, standing apart, but by reason of a closer proximity, their branches you would usually rub off each other, and that kind of thing. There's bound to be some little frictions here and there in every relationship, even with your wife, the woman that you took to the altar, and then you vowed and say, I will love you, I'll cherish you. You thought that you were never going to have a misunderstanding. That's a lie. Anybody who said, I've never had any misunderstanding with my wife, or please, you're not being real.
That's right.
Because you're dealing with a real human being who's got emotions like you, right? And they have a way of expressing themselves. Everybody is unique, So when it happens that way, most of the time, instead of crumbling under the pressure that is coming, and getting discouraged, interestingly and intriguingly, that is the time I feel like, no, I think I have to push in more. I have to do more.
So doing more, do you and you keep doing more? Do you get, something with what you've said so far? If I understand you, meaning you have sacrificed to groom churches, you sacrifice to help pastors, you sacrifice a lot. And when you are also doing something, do you get their support from them? Because I know you're an author.
Yes.
So do you get their support throughout in whatever you do, you journey through? And I know you're an author. How long have you been an author? And then how's the journey been like?
Being an author has been a very interesting experience. It started way back in 1996.
1996.
Exactly.
How old was I?
1996.
Wow.
That was when I really entered into the authorship ministry. I always say that my writing, I see that as a ministry in the sense that writing over the years for from 1996 to now, that's almost about nearly 20 something years now. Yeah, we're in 2023, right?
Yeah, 2023
Yes,
now.
that's almost about nearly 27 years now.
27 years.
Yes,
Yeah,
yeah,
27.
27 years. It's not been easy because most of the time it's like you are doing something, but whoever is with you don't seem to get your focus.
Mm.
All right.
Mm.
But I try to do most of my writing, privately because I know it's a private thing
Okay.
to myself. Yeah.
Okay.
But I make sure that whenever it comes to the church, whatever church that I was pastoring or whoever that I served minister that I served under, I make sure that I devoted my time, for the work of the
But
ministry.
since you're an apostle, let me put this question to you. Like,
Yes.
I'm putting you on the spot.
Yes.
Many men of God,
Mm.
whether from the bishops to the
Mm.
evangelists to
Mm.
the pastor to the prophet
Mm.
and to the apostle to all the fivefold ministry,
Mm.
I've realized that many people you find yourself serving for, but can't be there for you.
Mm.
As an apostle, have you heard being an apostle for years now?
Mm.
Have you had any follower who feels that way? And is it always true, or is the follower who is always assuming? And sometimes, per what we hear,
Yeah.
it's obvious that sometimes it's true that the men of God do not really follow who is following them to be there for them when they are always sacrificing.
It's true. It's very, very true. And I usually say that, in fact, by the grace of God, I've authored a book, that I titled Nuggets for Authentic Ministry.
Nuggets for authentic
Authentic Ministry, and it's a book that I'll say is type class. Type class in the sense that I believe that God inspired me to write that book for leaders, senior pastors and all that. You must show interest in whoever is pouring water on your hands. All right. Show interest in their lives and whatever they do. See, when Elijah was with Elisha, if Elijah was not interested in Elijah's life, I'm not sure when he was about to be taken away, Elijah was going to ask him that question, that ask me what you would want me to give you before I'm taken away. I always say this, that as a leader, most of the time your focus is such that you are always looking at the church, but those who are closer to the altar, you always take them for granted. The ushers, the prayer warriors, those we call the laymen, those who are closer to the
church
altar,
workers.
the church workers, the musicians. I believe there are people that you must devote time, you must set deliberate time to minister to them in terms of their spiritual lives, their social life, and everything. You must be involved. Okay, I believe so. If we're looking at Jesus being our model that we are all emulating, okay, because this is the issue, like you're saying, a lot of people think that ministry should make you neglect your social responsibility to those who are closer to you. Wrong. You got it all wrong.
Okay.
So to be honest, I said something in that book, Nugget for Authentic Ministry. I said something. I said, look, if you think God is going to clap for you, applaud you because you neglected your family and the people who poured water on your hands, and made you to be so impactful and effective in your ministry, I'm sorry about it, to disappoint you.
Great.
Because Jesus was interested in everything that had to do with his disciples, to the point that when he visited Simon Peter's house and the mother-in-law was sick, the Bible said Jesus ministered to her. He touched her and the spirit of fever left the woman. Okay, so those who are closer to you, because of the activity of the church most of the time, it looks as if you don't have enough time for them. And even if you want to do anything for them, you bring them, you join them to the entire, you put them in the mix. But I believe that there should be a time where you set a deliberate time apart and minister to such people, because there comes a time when the feeder must be fed.
Wow. There
All right.
comes a time when the
feeder must be fed.
And so it is right that men of God should look forward for their church
welfare.
workers. The welfare of the church workers is very, very, very essential.
Vital.
And it's one thing that I think crucially it's affecting most churches, their growth, and then all that. All right, so with me in the studio, as you all know, he's apostle and prophet. I'm trying not to mention a name I know about him because, yeah, unless he wants to mention. When we are going for a commercial break, or when we are back, you get to know his other side before we are going to do a roll call back, and then we just get to know more about him and how many books he's written and all the challenges he has had throughout the journey. We'll be right back. The name is Lady Otima, and this is Gathering the Pieces.
Are you thrilled about life, relationship, business, or your career? I hate to consider in gathering the broken pieces. Then know that there is a time for you to gather the pieces because it's about to explode. Join me on Royal Star TV every Thursday at 4 p.m. as I delve into your heart and melt the heat so you and I can gather. I am Lady Otima, your regular host. Stay connected. Royal TV, yeah, this year.
All you wanna see tonight, we wanna see your face. The name is Lady Otima. Be blessed. Open the eyes of my heart, Lord. Open the eyes of my heart. I wanna see you. I wanna see you. Open the eyes of my heart, Lord. Open the eyes of my heart. I wanna see you. I wanna see you. To see you, I lifted up, shine in the light of your glory. Pour out your power and love as we sing holy, holy, holy. To see you high and lifted up, shining in the light of your glory. Pour out your power and love as we sing holy, holy, holy. Holy, holy, holy. I wanna see you. I wanna see you. Here we go. Water turned into wine. You open the eyes of the blind. There's no one like you. None like you.
Welcome back to Gathering the Pieces, and this is Royal Star Television, watching us live from Royal Star Television. And I would like to urge you all to come to the show and place your adverts and you sponsor the show. And you can call our numbers that are on the screen. It's all per se, oh yeah, boy, for or yes, sponsor show ye, and our advertising you may be will show you so. Let's say numbers say the 2 screen, so say oh shem, say for number, I come. So best sponsor show you. What do I do beba na ya bohu de amount. It's message the number say where your screen so very affordable. Very, very affordable. For the directors and the producers, the numbers now screen is now one on kita home. Now man who share between the products and our company and then she be up say a bow show you so amount na the amount. So with me in the studio as I make kind saying the papa be were studio mu ha a friend apostle amperform na ye to adwumedie no show na mesre say ubedi echi na wo comments bi wo bibia wo pese o che wa adwen fa ho the numbers here clear wo screen so send no comments was so my na adwenkyerɛ bi a also experience bi a also wɔ no fa to hɔ ma na yɛhu baby a yɛso yɛ ne mmoayɛ ebe free abel yɛda wase yɛnkɔ back to our guest Apostle Ampofo. Now let's go back to back in the days in senior high school. Were you also Christian over there?
Yes, apparently that's where I got that household name that you're hiding. I was a member of the Scripture Union, and apparently we've been able to put together an old students fellowship organization called GHC26. That is Ghana's Old Students Fellowship International. Apparently, I'm an old boy of Ghana Senior High Koforidua.
Oh wow!
Yes, and we put together a fellowship of old students, and right now I'm the general secretary, and in fact, the executive secretary designate.
Say hello to all your Ghana students.
Yeah, so hi guys, I want to say hi to all of you, all my brothers and sisters, in Gospel, those in Ghana and also in the diaspora. I know you're watching me, and all my mates, out everywhere you can hear the sound of my voice and you're watching this program. I say shout out to you all. And this is your infant Jesus.
So, infant Jesus. You see, that was the name I was trying to avoid to mention. Infant Jesus. Like, why should someone be called Infant Jesus? Like, can you tell why did they call you Infant Jesus?
Apparently, back in those days, and I'm sure still they do that in our senior high schools.
Yeah, like my senior high school, I was called Skinny Petite.
Oh my God!
Like Skinny Petite, like.
Okay. And in the whole of our class, when I went to Form 1 then, as they used to call it, I was the smallest, very smallish, petite, in size and everything. And then I had a senior student in my dormitory, in my house, that is Frimpomposo house, the house 3. One day he lined all the juniors up and he said, I'm going to give you names.
Okay.
When I give you a name, you respond.
Okay.
So he started giving the names. When he got to me, he just looked at me for a second. He said, what do I call you? And then say, you know what? I'll call you Infant Jesus.
Ooh.
And then you will respond, small man. And that is, I think that name has had an impact on my life.
Wow.
And this world is an interesting, and God is a very, I always say that God has a sense of humor. This is a guy who never had anything to do with the Scripture, but as I'm talking to you now, I hear he's a great man of God in Germany.
Wow.
He's doing great things for the kingdom of God.
Wow.
And I said, oh, okay, you give me Infant Jesus. Definitely we'll have to rub on you.
Wow. So now let's talk about, before we go to your books, I think you brought a few copies here, one particular one recently launched. But before we go back to it, what has been the most painful and sorrowful moment for you throughout the journey as an author and as a man of God? And how did you just overcome it to push on?
All right. So I would say my first experience I had, especially with my authorship, was when I returned from Liberia in '91. I had always nursed this, dream of writing. And then in 1996, I made my first attempt, to publish, a book. And because I do self-publishing most of the time, I tried pushing it. It didn't work. I ended up incurring a debt of 27,000 cedis in 1996. That was a lot of money.
That's a lot of money.
Yeah. So when it happened that way, I just decided that, all right, let me take a step back. Take my foot off the pedal and relax a little bit. And it was really tough, so I was finding it difficult, going back.
What made you incur that huge sum of debt?
Because I was new, the scene. I haven't ventured into such waters, so I had to push money here and there, try to get the manuscripts and people to support the whole project. But unfortunately, it didn't work because those who were supposed to help push the whole project, ended up disappointing me along the line. And so I literally gave up, but I didn't give up totally because I still nursed and the idea, the dream of coming out as an author. And so, in fact, with this book that we have here, if it's going to be, it's up to me. I can confidently tell you that the title of this book is my tool for a comeback.
Wow.
Anytime I'm doing something and I'm faced with a challenge, then I rehearse the title of the book to myself and say, my own book says, if it's going to be, it's up to me. I didn't say it's up to you, so that I personalize the title, laying the responsibility wholly and squarely on myself. That if this dream of being an author is ever going to materialize, it is largely predicated on me. I always say that the greatest motivation that you can ever have in life is the one that comes from within you. Okay, in as much as whatever somebody else will say, will have an impact on your life. If you can gather the broken pieces yourself, have the courage to look back a little bit and ask, where did I get off? Do self-introspection, all right? Sit down and critically analyze the situation and mark all the wrong steps yourself. That's enough to give you an impetus to always override whatever challenges that are ahead of you. And instead of you crumbling under the pressure, you use those challenges as stepping stone to walk up.
So this book I'm having here, if it's going to be, it's up to me. Is it your first, second, third?
Interestingly, this book is supposed to be, in fact, it is my seventh book.
Okay.
The first book that I wrote has never been published. That book is titled How to Heal Your Broken Heart. This TV show program is started gathering the pieces.
Gathering the pieces, yes.
And I wrote that book after I lost my first wife.
Whoa.
How to Heal Your Broken Heart.
Whoa.
And that was
that's which year?
That was 2003.
Wow.
2nd of December. I remember that day so well. And it's still so current, even though it's been about 20 years down the line. It was something that it was a bullet that hit me unexpectedly. Never thought that it was going to happen, but it did. So I had literally giving up on anything about writing. And then I had a pastor friend. He was a Nigerian missionary who was posted to Ghana with his family. And then he encouraged me. Along the line, he said, boy, listen, if you don't feel like writing, keep writing. One day, God will open the door and your books will start coming out. So this book apparently is my seventh book.
Okay.
And
if it's going to be, it's up to me. Yeah. Okay, so everyone watching, this is the seventh book of Reverend Apostle Ampofo. If it's going to be, it's up to me. And I believe that if you are interested in getting such a, we are going to go through it. We're going to have a glance through the book. But we'll go for a commercial break. When we are back, we're going to glance through the book. But if you want a copy, please, I'll get you the price and then get a copy on my show. And the numbers are always on the screen. If it's going to be, it's up to me. It's definitely up to you to make everything possible for yourself. And that is what this show is about, gathering the pieces. It's all about making sure that the broken pieces are brought together. Remember to sponsor this show by picking the numbers on the screen to know how our packages are like and bring your products on board. Let us advertise for you and sponsor this show, Gathering the Pieces, live on Royal Star TV. We'll be right back. Please do stay with us.
Are you thrilled about life? relationship, business, or your career, I hate to consider in gathering the broken pieces. Then know that there is a time for you to gather the pieces because it's about to explode. Join me on Royal Star TV every Thursday at 4 p.m. as I delve into your heart and melt the heat so you and I can gather. I'm Lady Otima, your regular host. Stay connected. Royal TV, yeah, this year.
Into the darkness we shine. Out of the ashes we rise. There's no one like you. None like you. Our God is greater. Our God is stronger. God, you are higher than any other. Our God is healer. Awesome in power, our God, our God. Our God is great.
Okay, so welcome back to Gathering the Pieces. You're watching us live from Royal Star Television. This year, Royal Star TV, this year. My name is always the only Lady Otima in the whole nation and in the whole world. And so today we have been having a wonderful time with Reverend Apostle Ampofo. Don't mind my double cliches I'm adding. I love the name for him. Okay, so we're going to go through his book that he's written. I want to read a very part of his book. He said, "It is important to know and understand the dynamics of the process involved in the journey of success because the factors that usually push people into their destinies are not always exciting. You must understand that there is a responsibility on you to take the gift or talent God has given you and use them for a greater good of humanity. You can't afford not to be behind the wheels of a car heading towards your destiny." That's powerful.
That's it.
Can you really go deep into it for us?
That's it. So, like you rightly read, when I started writing this book, like I was telling you earlier on, 2004, right after I, in fact, my late wife, the first one, was buried in December of 2003. As soon as I came back, one day I was lying down and then I was hearing this voice, and then I just got up from where I was lying, took a pen and paper, and I started writing something.
Damn.
And I believe that, like I said, life is a journey that you have embarked on. But it's important to understand that the vehicle that is transporting you to your final destination, you must be the driver. Because when you are behind the wheels, then you can take charge and take control of the wheels. You are able to determine the speed at which the car must go. All right. Sometimes we quite often than not, when passengers are on board a vehicle, some of them are screaming at the driver, "Driver, won't you speed up a little?" And when the driver speeds up so much, "Hey, Pastor, you want to kill us or something?" So there's a whole lot of confusion. Which one do you listen to? But if you are in charge of the wheels, you determine how fast or how slow you want to go. All right. And one must understand that life is like a cocktail. It contains the good, the bad, and the ugly. Now, being a preacher, scripture tells me in Romans 8:28, and Paul begins this particular text with a very interesting preposition. He says, for we know, all right, for we know that all things work together for the good of them that love the Lord, who are the called according to his purposes. All right. All things. That means it contains the good, the bad, and the ugly. all right?
Yeah.
If you are cooking a broth, all right, a meal, soup or gravy, and I'm a cook. One of my hobbies is cooking,
Oh.
Yes, I love to cook. You're cooking a particular menu or recipe, but you know that it requires that the gravy or the broth is a bit peppery. You have to put in a lot of pepper so that at least it will serve the purpose for which you want to serve that meal. People are eating the soup all right, and they are having burning sensation in their mouth, and they are drinking water and all that. Okay, but then you see all the ingredients that you put in the soup. You can eat some of them in the raw state. You can take the pepper and put it in your mouth, and eat it raw or fresh. You take the ginger, put it in your mouth and eat it fresh. Tomatoes, you can do the same thing. You can do the same thing with the garden eggs if you like garden eggs and all that. But then when you put all together and you blend, all right, and you put it in the pot as it keeps cooking, every one of them contributes their attributes to making the broth very tasty.
Wow.
And you see this thing in this organ in the human body called the tongue is the most mysterious organ in the human body because your tongue can taste every single one of those ingredients in the soup on their own. So that when there's no pepper, your tongue will register.
No pepper.
There's no pepper. When there's no salt, the tongue will register.
That's right. That's right.
So this is what life is about. You must understand that like I said, the factors that usually pushes people into their destiny are not always rosy and beautiful.
It's not always rosy and beautiful. It's not always rosy and beautiful. You got to know that. I want to go deep into the book for a quick one. He says you need to live for something. And he says you need to understand God has created you onto a purpose in life. And you were not just here to live and die. Everything God created has a purpose for which He did. And it has been proven that if you want to live longer on this earth, you must be one that has a purpose in life. To keep alive and mentally healthy, we need something to live for, which was written by William McDougall, a professor of psychology, which is in your book here. And it's just amazing how people are living life without a purpose. Can you encourage someone today that they need to reassign themselves and have a purpose?
So I always say this, that you can lose your job, but please don't lose your purpose for life. The job was only a means to an end, but not the end itself. And I also say that you can retire on the job, but don't retire on your purpose for life. In our part of the world, people want to retire when they are very old and wobbly, but in the States and other places, people retire very young because they believe that they have something extra to give when they are full of verve and energy. Okay. Now, if you are listening to me, if you're watching me today, listen.
You can mix the dialect up so that everyone can.
Me pese wo ti ase se onyankopon bo wo ma botaye bi. Se wunya ehunu sa botaye no a wadwene ye o se ewiase nyina abewie so ate ase. Hunu botaye a onyame ne senti anyame ebo. Asase anyame ebo mai, the book of Isaiah me ate ase se nyame se mammo asase no ehunu a keke. Emo mebo se nipa betenem ne nneɛma wɔ mu nyinaa na ɛde ayɛyie ne anuonyam hyɛ de ama ɔno Awurade. Enti ebi ana wakɔte bea bi mu nneɛma bi afoforo so, nneɛma bi akyerɛw so. Nokure nie sɛ wanhyia nneɛma ɛte saa ɛne na wonyɛ nipa. Onipa a wawuo pɛ ɛna wonhyia saa nneɛma no. Sɛ wote nkwa mu yi, ne etie bia na abrabɔ ɛyɛ afrosane. So what you say? Wohwɛ onipa a ɔda ICU intensive care unit na wohwɛ monitors na esisi ɛhɔ no nyinaa wobɛhu sɛ ne breath wave no ɛyɛ sei. Now the moment now wo breath wave no ɛbɛyɛ straight lines no kyerɛ sɛ wawu. Nti obi koraa ɔwɔ in a state of comatose nipa koraa fi sɛ ɔnkeka ne ho nti ebi koraa na wawu no, as long as yehu sɛ ne breath wave no ɛyɛ sinusoidal oscillating no, it's an indication sɛ saa nipa no ɔte ase. Nti midɔfo ebi a na wohwɛ me awie baabi a wowɔ biara mpɛ sɛ ɔte ase sɛ the challenges that you're going through no anaasɛ nneɛma a wɔfa mu no hu sɛ botaeɛ bi nti ɛsiane botaeɛ no a wopɛ sɛ wopere kɔ ho no ɛno nti na ama wo hunu saa masua biribi afa nkwadaa ho sɛ akwadaa pɛ sɛ osua nante a wode ɛhwɛ nneɛma a yɛ a ɔfa mu wɔte hwe na ne hwena no ɛtwitwi me last born no saa berɛ na mete dansoma na akwadaa no pɛ sɛ osua nante na meda bed no so ɛna ɔno nso da fam hɔ enti ɔsɔreeɛ no ɔpɛ sɛ ɔso bed no mu. Unfortunately, the distance between him and the bed was a little far. Enti ɔstretching ne nsa no wantumi ansɔ mpa no dua no mu ɛna ɔslepoeɛ ɛna ɔde ne moma bɔɔ mpa no and mogya bɛgyinaa n'anim sei. Nti quickly I rushed to the kitchen and brought out some ice cubes. You know, ice contains latent heat. So we started saying the rubble, so the bed melted. You know. Only for a few minutes later, me say osunya me pete no krokro no ofe mu dae. Oti nani no. Na me hu ane say afei waria akro abeng empa no. And then I feel sorry and no so panamo firmly not on an ampano hosana or call. Me sheni dean said this boy has given me a message. What of all? Hey, or here I say and you know bro every year. So we near Bible say the righteous shall fall, but he shall rise up 7 times. You fall once, you rise up 7 times. How is that? What is that? What kind of equation is that? I thought that if you fall, you should rise up once. But how come that you fall once and you have to rise up 7 times?
Okay. That's.
Enti ahwiase e kan abrabo.
E kan abrabo.
Me pe obi a o si onyini ye o mo fom da na me nche me sika kakra e wo be wallet me fa nche. Kami nyobi o se me dia me nyini ye kura me ntin hwe ye da me mo fom da. Kama na kaja me 100 Ghana bi
bebre na nti asesa say I saw say why me, why God, why this, why that. But na wa ken papa say ahwease eye ade ehia na Nyankopon be bon eson ama wo. Na ni book here or launch dan. This book that he has launched, in fact, I want him to talk about his launching experience finally. Then we wrap up the show. You know, when you're launching your book, you expect a lot of people to come. If you invite a lot of people, because you've been there for a lot of people, so you expect them to come. Has it been like that? Do you always get them there? And how is always are there disappointments along the line or during the book launch? So your expectations are always cut off. Are they met when you're launching your books?
To be very honest, I've never had a full house during my book launch. You know, you invite so many people and you always have a handful coming up. And sometimes even those who are able to make it, I see on their faces and it's like, oh my God, is this guy going to make something big out of this? But, you know, 2019 gave me some kind of experience. I launched a book I titled The Preludes to Marital Bliss.
Yeah, that's right.
Know? And
I love that book. I really love that book.
We had just about 20 people in the room. But what God did that day, everybody who came to the program said, no, I saw God. I said, that's exactly what I wanted you to do. I always use, so most of the time, even though if I wish I would have had a full house, That would have been exciting and thrilling, you know. But my prayer that I always pray before I launch my book is that God, I know the people are coming to a book launch, but what I want you to do is that I'm using this book to be a vehicle to direct them to you. They will leave the place confessing and saying that I saw God today. And that's exactly what has been happening, you know. And sometimes my wife tells me, Daddy, don't you think you have to hold on? I said, sweetheart, you know what? I am doing what I'm doing because I've been asked to do it.
Okay.
It's not about me. I'm only a custodian of whatever gifts that God has given me. Me a so mami you. Me yeah the mama say me fancy. Now be a ordinary amount of fancy. Say bread so say ordinary amount. That's right. And me, sana me who me books, man. My book launches. I know you have been an MC, you've been an MC a couple of times, and you see the excitement in me. I'm not all down. I always try as much as possible to, you know, get the excitement in me because I'm excited that at least I have an opportunity to outdoor a book and I see my dreams being birthed right before my eyes, you know, and that's what excites me.
Okay. He sees his dream being birthed out, and that is what excites him. There is more we want to talk with Apostle Ampofo, but time will not permit us and to go further and further and further. But please, we want to say a big thank you to Apostle Ampofo, Kwesi Michael Ampofo, for coming to Gathering the Pieces Show on Royal Star Television. Thank you so much for making it. And we're going to bring him back on the show. And he has this book. Currently, he launched this book not quite long, and I was the MC for this. I also MC all locations. So if you need a lady MC, a skinny MC, like, please contact the numbers on the screen. Speak to my director and producer for me to MC all locations for you. How do you get this book? Please contact him. He's going to mention his numbers for us right away. How you can get him personally so that you can have a copy of his book. How much should this go for?
It's going for 30 cedis a copy.
I was going to even say 80 Ghana cedis. Please, we are selling this book for 80 or 50 cedis. Please pick about 10 copies. Be a blessing to your church, your wife, your family members, all your enemies and lovers. Please get a copy. We have about 100 copies in the studio here with us. Please contact us and please put your number on the screen for us.
Right,
Do mention your numbers for us.
So apparently I have a second book which is in circulation, and it's titled Change the Channel. So I'll definitely get you some more copies. And if you want to contact me, my numbers are 05544865526, 05544865526, or 027-600-1205. 027-600-1205. You can call me anytime, any moment, any day, and I'll be glad to receive you.
Please, he'll be glad to receive. Please make sure you call him. The book is 50 cedis. I'm adding it. 50 cedis. Please pick one for 50 cedis. Please pick one for 50 cedis. If you want to buy about 20 pieces too, we're going to give you a discount so you can be a blessing to more people. There are more books he's written, over 10, 15 books that he has written that are yet to be published also as well. Please do well to contact Apostle Michael Kwesi Ampofo. Once again, thank you so much. Would you like to give your closing remarks to anyone that is watching you? Say hello to someone. I'm sure your kids are watching you.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
And first of all, I want to say hi to my first lady. She's my ride or die. She's my friend, my everything. My kids, Vanessa, Joel, Loda, Zebulon, and Miracle Joy. And to all my friends out there, especially people in God's feet, God bless you for supporting me in prayer. And I want to encourage you today that, hey, you are the only one who can gather the pieces together. And so take up courage. Don't throw in the towel yet. It is not over until you say so. So God bless you.
It is not over until you say so. Let me just try to have the patient on it. It's not over until you say so. Please make sure it's not going to be over for you. A very big thank you to my executive producer, Reverend Nana Oyeyirenchua the First. my executive. I love you so much, mommy. Thank you so much. And then also to my MCL Justice and to my media crew and production team, the Dan Concept. Thank you all. Once again, if you'd like to sponsor the show, please do well to contact the numbers on the screen. If you'd like to sponsor my costume, my makeup, and all, please pick up the numbers on the screen and be a blessing to Garden the Pieces. If you say there is still hope. Nyankopon show be your Oshaye. Take care and see you next Thursday. It's bye for now.
Are you thrilled about life, relationship, business, or your career? I hate to consider in gathering the broken pieces. Then know that there is a time for you to gather the pieces because it's about to explode. Join me on Royal Star TV every Thursday at 4 p.m. as I delve into your heart and melt the heat so you and I can gather. I'm Lady Otima, your regular host. Stay connected. Royal TV, yeah, this year.
Thank you.